Most people are operating with a catastrophic system latency. They think they are being good, but they are actually just becoming predictable targets for a neural hijack of their prefrontal cortex. This goodness is a dopaminergic vulnerability, a chemical addiction to social approval that acts as a massive data leak of power, inviting external manipulation and strategic collapse. This session of the Aura Protocol isn't about motivation. It's about shadow recruitment through the clinical lens of Carl Jung and the neuroscience of dominance. We are here to dismantle your unconscious theater of normalcy and re-engineer the psychological substrate of your consistent failures. If you came here for comfort, your prey scent is already flooding the room. We are here to update your internal operating system and achieve total neural sovereignty through calculated opacity. It is time to install a tactical mask and claim absolute frame dominance. Stop performing for a world that views your honesty as a weakness. Start operating the system. Your internal command begins now. The world never plays fair. While you optimize for honesty, your opponents are optimizing for your blind spots. No matter how skilled you become, someone with a superior adaptive persona will attempt to seize your territory. Most people play checkers with their lives, moving blindly and reacting to every emotional impulse. You are about to learn how to play chess with the neural pathways of those who dare to cross your path. This knowledge is not for the weak. It is for the elite who understand that dark intelligence is born from betrayal, humiliation, and defeat. Others break under the pressure of reality. You will learn to build a fortress upon its wreckage. Use this power for protection, not destruction, but never forget. The goal is to understand the game so deeply that you never become a pawn again. The greatest vulnerability you carry is the need to be perceived as a good person. For the strategist, this is not character. It is a data leak of power. When you strive to be understood and accepted, you are handing over the keys to your internal command on a silver platter. Jung was clear. One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious. Your goodness is often just cowardice disguised as shadow recruitment. Understand the mechanics of the prey scent. The social predator smells your need for validation from miles away. Every time you justify yourself, every time you try to prove your worth to those who do not recognize it, you are in a state of emotional begging. You are pleading for a position in the world that should have been seized through frame dominance. The sovereign understands that social morality is a brake installed to keep the masses predictable. If you follow every invisible rule of social etiquette, you are a hacked algorithm. You react as expected, you smile when pressured, and you explain your intentions when questioned. This is positional compliance. You are occupying the space the system reserved for victims. To break this cycle, you must accept that your shadow is not your enemy. It is your reserve army. Integrating the shadow means you possess the capacity to be dangerous, but you choose precision without the capacity for destruction. Your peace is merely an early surrender. Most men walk through life as fragments of a human being. They believe they have conquered their dark side because they've buried it under layers of social compliance. In reality, they have simply surrendered their greatest source of power to the basement of their subconscious. This is the ultimate strategic failure. When you refuse to acknowledge your capacity for malice, greed, and destruction, these forces do not vanish. They operate in the dark, sabotaging your moves and leaking your true intent through the cracks in your persona. Carl Jung knew that a man who cannot face his own darkness is a slave to it. By refusing to recruit your shadow, you remain an incomplete system, easily dismantled by those with a unified internal command. While you struggle with the moral need to be harmless, the strategist has already integrated their aggression. They don't fight their shadow, they weaponize it. They use that raw, primal drive to fuel their ambition while maintaining a calm, surgical exterior. Stop fearing the monster inside. A monster you control is your most loyal guardian. A monster you ignore is your silent executioner. The moment you start explaining yourself, you have already lost the exchange. To explain is to apologize for your existence. It is the ultimate form of emotional begging. In any power dynamic, the person who provides the most information is the one seeking approval. You are broadcasting a prey scent of insecurity, signaling to the world that your frame is weak and open for a neural hijack. Every justification you offer is a data point for your opponent. You are handing them the attack vectors they need to dismantle your authority. The sovereign understands the power of calculated opacity. They don't give reasons, they give results. If someone questions your motives, your silence is your most effective answer. Silence forces the other person to fill the void with their own anxiety. It shifts the burden of proof from you to them. In the theater of normalcy, he who speaks the least holds the heaviest influence. Learn to let the silence sit until it becomes unbearable for the weak. That is where true frame dominance begins. Most people treat information like a common currency, spending it all at once to buy a fleeting moment of connection. They reveal their plans, their fears, and their next moves, thinking they are building trust. In reality, they are simply becoming transparent. And transparency is the death of influence. Real power is born in the shadows of what remains unsaid. This is calculated opacity. You only show what is strictly necessary to maintain the tactical interface you've chosen for the world. When you leave gaps in your narrative, people are forced to fill them with their own imagination. And that imagination, once untethered, begins to work for you. It creates a gravity around your presence that others cannot escape. Machiavelli warned that everyone sees what you appear to be, but few experience who you truly are. By maintaining this distance, you ensure your internal command remains unreachable. You are not a mystery for the sake of being mysterious. You are a fortress. You answer questions with questions. You smile when they expect a confession. And you move with a quiet confidence that signals you have already won a war they haven't even realized has started. Amateurs think power is loud. They raise their voices, they make demands, and they beat their chests, desperate to be noticed. But real power is a whisper, or better yet, a total silence. Silent leverage is the art of applying pressure without moving a muscle. It is the weight of your presence changing the atmospheric pressure of the room. When you become comfortable with silence, you become the master of the clock. Most people are terrified of an empty void in conversation. They rush to fill it with words that betray their weaknesses. Next time you are faced with a challenge or a direct question, do not react. Do not explain. Just wait. Let the silence stretch until it becomes heavy. Watch as their confidence begins to leak through their nervous movements and unnecessary justifications. This is not passive. It is a clinical extraction of their prey scent. Your willingness to walk away, to remain unbothered, and to keep your counsel is the heaviest influence you possess. You don't fight for power. You position yourself so that others eventually hand it to you just to stop the pressure of your silence. In the theater of normalcy, the one who can endure the silence the longest is the one who holds the leash. Most people believe that an attack is a demonstration of strength. In reality, every unprovoked aggression is a broadcast of a hidden insecurity. When someone tries to diminish you or manipulate your frame, they are projecting their own internal architecture onto you. They are trying to find a home for their fears. The sovereign does not absorb these projections. He reflects them. This is the mirror tactic. Instead of reacting with anger, which is a sign of being controlled, you observe with a cold, clinical detachment. By remaining unbothered, you force the aggressor to confront their own reflection in your silence. You turn their chaos back on them. When they expect you to defend yourself, you simply watch. This creates a psychological vacuum that they are forced to fill with their own discomfort. You are not a sponge for their emotions. You are a polished surface of calculated opacity. In the theater of normalcy, the one who can hold the mirror the longest without blinking is the one who dominates the interaction. Their insecurity is your leverage. Use it to dismantle their frame until they realize they are fighting a war against themselves. The final stage of power is the end of the war within. Most people live in a state of constant internal conflict. Their ego wants one thing, their shadow wants another, and their persona is screaming to please everyone. This fragmentation is a terminal weakness. It makes you slow, predictable, and easy to manipulate. The sovereign alignment is the moment you stop apologizing to yourself for your desires. It is the merging of your conscious will with your integrated shadow. When you align your dark drive with your strategic mind, you become a singular, disruptive force. You no longer seek permission to exist or to win. You move with the weight of a diamond, many facets, but one unbreakable stone. This is what it means to achieve neural sovereignty. You are no longer a slave to external opinions or internal guilt. You have updated your operating system to a version that the world cannot hack. You are the architect of your own reality, and your stillness becomes the heaviest influence in any room. You don't ask for respect. Your unified presence demands it. The ultimate fortress is not built of stone. It is built of indifference. Most people are slaves to their attachments, their need for a job, a relationship, or a specific opinion of them. This desperation is a scent that every predator catches. What you are not afraid to lose, you can finally control. This is strategic detachment. It is the realization that your internal sovereignty is the only asset that cannot be liquidated. When you stop being desperate for any outcome, you become the most dangerous person in the room. Imagine a negotiation where one side needs the deal to survive, and the other side is perfectly willing to walk away. The power is never in the hands of the needy. It is held by the one who is truly free. Detachment is not being cold. It is being unbindable. It gives you the clarity to see the move before it happens, because your vision isn't clouded by the fear of loss. When you practice the sovereign's indifference, threats lose their edge, manipulations find no purchase. You are no longer a target. You are a ghost in the machine of social control. You care about your goals, but you are never a slave to them. This is where the theory ends and your operation begins. You have the tools, calculated opacity, shadow recruitment, and strategic detachment. But knowledge without execution is just another form of mental masturbation. The world doesn't care what you know. It only reacts to what you do, and more importantly, to what you refuse to do. Your power is measured by the strength of your no and the depth of your silence. From this moment on, you are no longer a victim of your own empathy or a prisoner of your social programming. You are a sovereign strategist. Your stillness is your answer to those who seek to provoke you. Your results are your answer to those who doubt you. The theater of normalcy will try to pull you back into the herd, whispering that you should be nicer, more open, more predictable. Ignore the noise. That is the malicious code of the weak trying to disarm the strong. Drop this final affirmation in the comments to lock in your internal update. I choose to be strategically intelligent, not emotionally reactive. Stand tall in your own architecture. The game of checkers is over. The board is yours. Execute.